Hello, welcome to episode 3. We're going to be cutting the body out today. Doing something different. I'm just going to speak over the videos because my camera's still pretty messed up. Alright, let's go. So we're just going to trace the template onto the body. Some people tape it down, screw it into the body, and then cut. I don't know how the bandsaw is going to cut, so I did a nice thick line, little extended past the template. First step, turn the saw on. Next step, cut pretty close to that outline. Now, I have an outline that is the exact where the template goes. The little thin line. You'll see, I guess in this shot, you'll see a little thin line really close to that dark line. And then I got the thick line. Yeah, you see it right there. So that thin line is where the template actually sits. The dark line is where I gave myself some wiggle room, just in case the saw messes up. It's old saw, old blade. Don't really know how it cuts, so just learning. Now I know for next time. So yeah, put some relief cuts in. Taking my time, going pretty slow. Perfect. So this is what happens when you buy a used bandsaw and you don't inspect everything before you start cutting. So motor was on, saw was on, saw wasn't working. You can see right here. Open it up, pulley spin freely. Look at that. Where's that drive belt? There it is, shredded. So it's pretty dry rotted. Should have looked at it, but I didn't. They're cheap on Amazon. I'll put the link in the description for you guys. Just ordered one.
3 days later.
Wow, that was quick. Yeah, it was like $11 for one. Maybe should have gotten 2 or 3 at one time, but I didn't think, so I just bought one of them. That's what it looks like. Little belt. All right, so let's replace it. First, unplug the bandsaw. Get rid of that little snap ring. Lower the tension in the blade. Lower that top pulley so it's loose, and allows you to work with that bottom one. Next, you're going to loosen the 2 screws in that motor, so it can wiggle. You'll see it be able to move from the front of the saw, just so you'll be able to put the belt on when you take that bottom pulley off. There it is, wiggling. Pull that wheel off, and then normally you should be able to just put it right back on, but that belt wasn't used for a while, or I don't know what was going on. There was a bunch of gunk and debris left in there, so I focused really well on it for you. Just grabbed a little pick, scraping it all out, getting all the gunk and junk out of there, just so the belt sits right on it. Most of you probably aren't going to have to do that step, but I did. So nice and clean, put the belt behind it, slide that pulley back on, then just put the belt onto the motor, make sure it's seated correctly in the grooves, and then just reverse the steps. Seat it. Make sure the pulleys, everything's aligned. Put that snap bearing back on. Then you're going to want to retighten those 2 screws on the motor. Pull it back. Make sure that belt's tensioned the right way. Tighten those 2 screws. You'll be good to go. Retighten the, or as retension, the blade. Pull that top pulley up. Plug it back in. Test it. And you should be pretty good to go. When you look at that. Alright, well, look at that. Dry rotted, corroded, shredded old belt. So plug it in, turn it on, everything should work. If you have to retension that blade, set everything again. But, yep, you're good to cut. Alright, now turn on that professional vacuum dust collector. Start cutting again. Now finish that up. Go nice and slow. So already looking good, looking like a guitar body. Yeah, just be patient. Don't really force the saw. Maybe that had something to do with me finally finishing off that blade. Maybe I was forcing it a little too much. But yeah, just let the saw do the cutting, and then you'll have a rough cut, rough outline like this that you can then put the template on and route and clean up those edges, make it nice and smooth. So to do that, you're going to want to grab your favorite router bit. I like this one by Infinity Cutting Tools. Now, I don't need to measure it for you, just based on the size. It's familiar in my hand. It's about 8.5 inches long. I like it because it has dual flute, up and down cuts, and a top and bottom bearing. This thing eats. Look at it. It's a monster. So next you're going to want to grab some double-sided tape. your favorite double-sided tape. Now, this stuff is really good. I've talked about it in a previous video. I put the model number because it's not written on it itself, but I got it from Uline. I can also link that in the description, but it's very strong. So put a couple strips on the template, peel it, then you're ready to put it onto the body. The rough cut that you have. Now, unfortunately, I routed everything out before I decided on the shape of the body, so now I have to be very, very careful of lining up the center, as opposed to just going by a center line and usually it working. So I put a center punch in the center screw for the hardtail bridge, just so it's centered down on that body. It's in the right spot, and I'm looking through the neck screw holes, lining it up, make sure I can see everything on the bottom. Because now I really have to make sure it's the center. Because I routed first like a mistake, but learning process. So now I made the mistake, so you guys don't have to. Now, once I know that it's for sure centered and everything's aligned and straight, and then you just really press down and take that punch out, and that tape will hold on like crazy. Yeah, it's very, very strong tape. Now, as you can see, there's a ton of material on the outside of that template. Too much, but again, I didn't know how the saw was going to cut, so mistake learned for next time. So, yep, just clamp the body to your work surface. Make sure you set the height of your router, then you use router bit correctly so you don't cut the template and you're getting all the material. And then the bearing rides along the template. Then turn it on and start cutting. Alright, so like what I said before, there's a lot of material that I left as a safe, barrier for testing that saw. Turns out I really didn't need it at all, so I'm just going to make routing take a lot longer. That was, even for this big bit, it's a lot of material, so I'm just going over multiple passes, so I'm just lightly grazing that material, going over and over and over again, until I get it down to a small enough amount past the template to me to just go, push it, and get that bearing riding along the template and rounding it out. So, it took a little bit, but, I mean, the results it's very smooth. So, yeah, you can't really just push a router through all that material. You're going to break a bit, overheat, you can get hurt, you can get some tear out, you can destroy your bit. So, destroy your project, mess your hand up, or your eyes up. So, yeah, just have to take it slow, be careful, and take out enough before you can, I guess, utilize the bearings in the template. But yeah, just go slow, do that over and over again, and rotate your piece as necessary, and take your time, be careful, try not to push and rotate, keep that router flat and perpendicular to your piece, and you'll get an exceptional result, kind of like this, with a perfect finish and a ton of wood on the ground. So, not featured in this video is me trying to pry this body off for 6 minutes. This tape is insanely good. So this is just the end. I was pulling. I thought I was going to snap the template. So I just got a little like spackle, like a putty knife, and started wedging just to break it loose. But yeah, it finally came done. Got the template off and got the body out. It's nice, smooth, it's perfect. So up next is a ton of sanding and figuring out what radius I want to put on the edge. But I think it came out very, very good so far. So the issue I was talking about in my previous videos where I thought I messed up was this right here. I was a little less than a 16th away from catastrophic issue, figuring out how I was going to fill that and repair that pickup cap or the electronics cavity. But I was very, very lucky, so I learned to be at peace with the body shape and have a final design and layout, and cut the body first before I do any of the pockets. For the pickups, control cavity, the neck. So I got very lucky. So lesson learned for next time, but it's a learning process. I'm learning, doing all this for the first time, and hopefully you guys are learning something too. So thank you.